Get ready. Helena Hustle is now live. Here, we will showcase successful leaders in business, athletics, healthcare, and all things that make Helena a great place to live. Join Dr. Daniel Bridge, owner of Endurance Chiropractic, as he searches out amazing individuals who are making a tremendous difference in this place we call home. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired with the Helena Hustle podcast.
Thanks, Kim, for joining me. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this interesting opportunity.
Good. Would you mind introducing yourself?
So I am Kim Ballard. I am the owner with my husband Chuck of the Meineke Car Care Center here in Helena, Montana.
Cool. We've known each other for a couple years now, but I'm curious to see if you can stump me with your two truths and a lie.
Well, I've thought long and hard about it. So one of the things is I got married at 18.
Okay.
I absolutely love to cook, and I once was a roller derby queen.
I think you don't love cooking. Is that your lie?
That is my lie. Wow. Thought for sure I was going to stump you on that.
I feel like I've known these other things. So you were 18 when you got married?
We were 18.
Were you guys high school sweethearts?
We were high school sweethearts. We met when we were 16.
And this was where?
Richfield, Minnesota. I'm sure you can tell the Minnesota in my accent still, I think.
Yeah. And were you guys, had you graduated when you got married?
We graduated together and got married afterwards. He was in the Army, and the proposal was kind of interesting. He called. I was actually at his mother's house, and called and said, "Babe, I got leave, and we can get married December 18th." And I'm like, "Honey, I got finals to do. I'm in college." And he hung up, and I was like, I told his mom, I said, I think that wasn't the proposal I was kind of expecting, but he probably wasn't expecting my, things I have going on. I said, he'll call back. And of course he called back. So
had you guys discussed marriage before then?
Sure. Oh yeah. We were going to get married, and
I see. But that was your proposal.
That was the proposal. Yeah. And part of it was like he got the leave, and the only way for me to be with him then was to be married so that we could work on getting housing and things like that. So we didn't have to get married for a pregnancy. We just got married because it was something that we were ultimately going to want to do.
Cool.
But that came sooner than I was envisioning. And as a female, it's like I'm only going to get married once in my eyes. And it's like the biggest day for me in my life is to get married.
Cool.
So
that's exciting.
Fortunately for me, I had an aunt that had 7 kids, and 5 or 6 had been married. So this is way before internet days. So she had the laundry list, and I was able to get through that list pretty quickly. Found a dress pretty quick. And
nice.
My husband just said, "Whatever you make of it, babe, it's yours. It's your day." And
nice.
So
does Chuck like to cook?
No. And when I met him, he was actually a cook at a Sambo's restaurant.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And so I used to go there every Saturday. But being a short order cook, somebody else has already done the slicing and the dicing, and it's all laid out, and it's got the menu. You just show up and fire up the grills and heat up and cook. So it was easy for him. We both can cook, but and I primarily do the cooking in the house. But he's the microwave artist.
Okay, cool. I microwaved a baked potato a week ago for the first time ever, and it wasn't too bad.
No, they got a little bag you can put it in, and it's done in like 4 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I had heard the roller derby thing. That's why I was able to lock in on the middle one. But I want to hear. So when did you start roller derby?
Age 40.
Really?
Yeah. My husband and I own rental properties, and one of the renters knew that I loved to roller skate.
Okay.
And I've been skating since I was 8 years old, and most of my family roller skates. And she's like, "Hey, we're trying to do a roller derby league, and could you be a part of that?" And I'm like, "Well, I can't run it." I said, "But yeah, that'd be fun. I'd love to, And before I knew it, I was the captain of the team, and I was the trainer, and half the girls were half my age. You had to be 21 or older, because of the drinking and the beer fests that they had and whatnot. But I was on the circuit. I was on the radio. I was on TV. And
wow, it's a physical sport, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you're laying people out.
Well, the thing is I was the jammer, so I'm hoping to not get laid out.
What's the jammer?
The jammer is the one that has to start in the back.
Is there a ball?
No.
No? Okay.
No, just, your skates.
Okay.
So you had to get through the pack. So you got 4 on their side, 4 on your side, and your team staff's trying to help you get through, but they're trying to block the other jammer that's side by side with me, trying to get through the pack. And I was very fast. I was very quick. I could turn on a dime. I could go skate backwards. And so, I did it for a year, and it got to the point towards the end there. One of the defensive maneuvers is that I can turn on a dime and I can skate backwards. So kind of like with hockey. I mean, do you do this behind you to watch the guy behind you, or do you skate backwards so you can have a defensive maneuver?
Okay.
I'd skate backwards, and they couldn't get around me.
So what are the rules as far as physical contact?
Shoulders, usually. So I would dip down and I could knock somebody out with
You
a
can
shoulder.
smash them with your shoulder. Can you push them?
No.
And you
so
can't tackle them.
You can't push them, or it's really shoulder checking, hip checking.
But you can knock someone flying. And
that's
within the rules.
Oh boy, yeah. So like,
and what about like head-on collisions? Are you skating in the same direction?
Same direction.
Okay.
Yep, around the flat track, and like I said, they're kind of turning back to see how to block you or which direction you're going. But with me, the pivot person is the one that's in front, and the pivot people, their team, your team, as you're going around, that pivot person is usually skating backwards to kind of to see where everybody's at and where the jammer's coming through. But not everybody could skate backwards or skate backwards well.
Yeah.
And so obviously, and I was very quick. It got to the point where the commentator would say, "Oh, here comes Kim Possible," which was my handle name.
Oh, cool.
And I got him and I said, "If you mention that I'm coming around that corner again, I'm taking you out." Because if you lap them and you lap the other jammer, you get an extra bonus point. And so I would do that as often and frequent as I could.
I can't believe you started at 40. I'm 37, and I know I would pull something if I went and tried to do roller derby. So good for you.
Yeah, it was a great fun time, and we did Disability Viewpoints was the TV program I was on, and so we had some handicapped folks, and probably my number one non-family member that was my cheering squad on the side was Mark, and he was in a wheelchair, and so he was just wonderful, and he did a TV show on Disability Viewpoints, and it was about positiveness with what God hands you. As a disability, somebody else would be crippled and like, oh, I can't live, I can't go on, and he was just very positive, and it was just a positive thing for people in wheelchairs. So we would, when we would do our practices, they could come in and we would go around the rink with them and just make some fun.
Fantastic.
And skate around and make them like they're dancing. And it was just fun.
That is fun.
I used to do a couples waltzing competition before I met my husband. And was a speed skater, and I always enjoyed skating. I really wish Helena would build a rink so that
that'd be fun.
We could have here. Oh, it would succeed.
Yeah, probably.
Everybody's like, oh, we had one before, and I'm like, yeah, but you didn't have me here.
Yeah. And what brought you to Helena?
So,
because you grew up Minneapolis.
Yeah, Richfield, Minnesota. My husband and I both grew up there for the most part. And my mom still lives in the same house I grew up in today, so she's still there. But basically, my son had followed his high school sweetheart out here to Helena, Montana, and their family relocated out here. And after they graduated in 2005, and so he got here in I think 2007. And so I was out here on a visit, and we've been kind of talking to a life coach as to what do you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah.
Because in corporate America, I had been right-sized, downsized, reorged, and when businesses change hands, new president or owners come in, they always bring in their own financial or HR people. Well, that was my background. So HR, finance, payroll, management. So I kind of got tired of being right-sized, downsized, reorged, and I said, I told my husband, there's no reason you and I can't go into business together and do something. I said, he's IT and network infrastructure, cloud computing, all that. I know the finance side of it, the accounting side of it, the HR piece of it, customer service side of it. So we were looking at doing a Meineke, Minnesota, because there's 1 million of them. But it was like $1 million to get started. And I'm like, yeah, we don't have that. And we literally had just moved into another house. My husband was working for a company, and he was going places with them, and they had some change in management, and I was let go on his 50th birthday.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but I came out here and visited with my son, and came across the Meineke on Custer after we had gone to the Vigilante Parade, and it was by a stroke of God that was leading me in that direction.
Nice.
And sitting at that light, a rush of cold air came over my shoulders, and a voice said, go in, talk to the owner. And because I noticed the Meineke sign was a brand new one. And just because we have so many in Minnesota, it was a newer branded sign. I went in there, and the owner of all the days was actually there. He was a very absentee owner. And didn't really say it was for sale, but he let me walk around for over an hour with him, let me take pictures. It was a place I would pretty much never take my car. It was very dirty, run down, but he had a great location, great following. I'm like, babe, we can do something with this, and he kind of poo-pooed it because we just moved into a house in Zimmerman, Minnesota, because we had downsized because our kids had moved out, and we were building a shop there. But
how old were you at this point?
50.
Okay.
And you're supposed to ask that.
Well, I think it's interesting. You start roller derby at 40, you start a brand new business, change of career, change of life at 50. That's totally pertinent.
Completely uprooted our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very difficult decision. We prayed about it. We talked about it. The Meineke was going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. But again, God pieced things together in his timing.
Yeah. Was that scary? Or were you...
boy.
Uh-huh.
The first few days, then of course, then moving here and living with my son and his wife.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yes.
My son and his wife and their daughter, or his daughter, her daughter. They, so it was very different because, you go from having a, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 7-car garage to no garage. And now you have your 2 kitty cats in your bedroom and you have one room living out of your suitcases.
Right.
Till you can get established here and potentially be qualifying for a home. So 8 months later, we bought our house here in Montana City and absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I found the Meineke, and God kind of aligned the stars in his time, not my time. But very scary to just uproot and put all your eggs in one basket.
So what gave you the courage to actually take that step?
I think it was just by the grace of God and the fact that my husband, unbeknownst to him, lost his job July 1st of the same year that I lost my job.
Wow.
And now we were able to tap into 401ks that you can utilize to do a business that we didn't have when we were first entertaining the thoughts.
Yeah.
So the financial part of it kind of then became pieced together for that.
Yeah. And so when did you take over Meineke?
December 1 of 2014.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Coming up on a year,
years.
or 10 years next year.
Next year,
That's
yeah.
exciting. And tell us a little bit about your business, Meineke.
So Meineke Car Care Center, obviously it's a nationwide franchise, but we are all independently owned and operated. We are veteran-owned and operated. My husband's veteran. Our son is also currently serving, so we have an active duty member. And my husband's grandfather was a USS Arizona Pearl Harbor survivor.
No kidding.
Yes. So if that didn't happen, and then of course father, and then my husband, and of course our son. So 4 generations strong, and we are very veteran minded. We like to help and just be a part of that piece of Helena here. The other part, I feel like customer service is a dying breed. Growing up when I was 9 years old, I was a paper route girl. And back then you had to go door to door to collect.
Sure.
So you didn't prepay anything. And so if you didn't do a good job, you probably weren't going to get paid. I went above and beyond and usually put it in the side door, in a box, in the garage, wherever they wanted it. That's where it got placed.
Okay.
And I usually would have tips when I would go back and collect. And, Christmas time, they'd give me gifts, and they'd make sure the path was shoveled for me, or the dog was in, and wouldn't bother me. And never got bit by a dog. Got chased a couple times, but that was about it.
Yeah. And so how have you guys put that into place at Meineke as far as customer service?
We are not perfect people. My mechanics are not perfect. I'm not perfect. My lube technicians, we strive to be really well trained. We strive to do a good job. We strive to always do the right things. A doctor sometimes is practicing medicine. Well, and sometimes when your vehicle starts exhibiting different signs, if it hasn't had the love and the TLC or the care that it should have had, sometimes you have to start with one thing that's most prominent in front of you and then work your way down the list to get it back to good health, is what I'll say. And so I do a lot of I say diagnosing on the side, and I try to be mindful about the ticks and the tocks and the squeaks and the creaks and whatever's going on with leaking, and we try to identify what full scope, right out of the gate. But sometimes you'll fix one thing, and then something that was not as present is now more prevalent because now you can hear that sound too.
Right.
Like there's, on a wheel bearing on a vehicle, sometimes you'll hear that woo, 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 woo. Well, could be a wheel bearing. Well, you'll hear it prominently on one side's getting hot. Well, then now you got that one operating really well. Well, then now you kind of hear that on the other side. Well, it's the same sound. Yes, but now it's on the other side, and no, we didn't catch it because it wasn't as prevalent as it is now with the other side operating better. And, so, but, not all the filters always work out perfectly. Sometimes there's a malfunction in the filter, or we get bad parts, and so we have to warranty them out. So I always tell people, if we've touched something and something's a malfunction of a part, or that we made a mistake in something, I'll own up to it, and I'll do my best to get it fixed and get it corrected. And some things aren't our fault, and it is something else, or it is a defective part, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Let's take a look at it. Our work is warranted. Parts are warranted. So. Well,
that I'm sure just gives people a lot of comfort if they're going to, entrust you with their vehicle, to know that they can have peace that if something goes wrong, that it is warranted.
Interestingly enough, a little tidbit here is my husband's grandmother and grandfather, not the military side, had a little gas station with a little dairy on the side where they had the eggs and the cheese and whatnot. And Grandma would go out and pump the gas, clean the windshield, check the oil and sell you some cheese and, butter and eggs or whatever. So fast forward, 40 years later here, Chuck and I were doing that.
Yeah. It was in the blood, huh?
Yeah. Well, that, and then before their grandpa passed away at a very young age, 47, he was looking to get rid of the gas station side of it, and they were going to buy Dairy Queen, a franchise.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, it passed away before that happened. And then Chuck and I, when we first got married, when I was 20, I actually worked for Kmart Automotive, looking up parts in the automotive department.
Okay.
So fast forward, 30 years, and now I'm actually doing it electronically. But when the power goes out, I can still flip through a book and tell you what oil filter I need and things like that. So again, God put things in your path, and
you might not realize till later, but
exactly.
One thing that I've always been impressed with you, Kim, is you do a really good job of getting into the community, supporting other businesses. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Does that come natural to you?
It does. My mom and dad are very, I guess, people, and my mom was just, I'll say, the gift of the gab, and always had her phones up to our ears, and we're always talking to somebody and trying to look out for other people. And just, my mom was a daycare provider for many, many, many years. And so it was all about, caring for the people or the little people, and just doing that kind of stuff. But I think my background just comes from the different things I've been exposed to as a young girl, and just always enjoyed. I never worked a day in my life doing the paper route. My folks got divorced. I ended up being a waitress. Did that till I got married and left the state of Minnesota for Fort Gordon, Georgia.
Okay.
And lived down there for a few years. Went to Germany, lived there for 3 years. And that is where our son was born, in Heidelberg, Germany. And traveled a ton before he was born, and got to see the sights, from Switzerland, and did some skiing, downhill skiing, and just really enjoyed the people over there and customer service and that aspect.
Yeah. Well, cool. Okay, Kim, so if somebody wanted to find Meineke, talk about their vehicle, ask you a question, anything like that, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Obviously, Google is my number one fan. If you Google mechanic shop, muffler shop, exhaust shop, repairs, open on Saturday. So we pride ourselves in good customer service. We've got the Google reviews. I always tell people, if you've got something, that you're not happy about, let me know about it. Give me a chance to fix it. Otherwise, please share the love and let other folks know that we're a trustworthy shop, and that we have warranties with our service and with our parts. And check us out.
You're located where?
We are at 610 West Custer Avenue. We are just west of Highway 15 off Custer Avenue towards the fairgrounds.
Okay. And people can schedule online, correct?
Yes, that is another one of the features that got started about 3 years ago is online appointments. So you can schedule. The only appointment you cannot book online is the oil change.
Okay.
So oil changes and tire rotations, which is included, are strictly first come, first serve.
Right. Uh-huh.
And we just invite people to the back of the building, down to the fence in the dumpster, last tall service bay door, and
First
that's
come,
where you get
first
checked
serve.
in. First come, first
Yeah.
serve, Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
So
And your phone number?
area code 406, of course, 442-9589.
Great. Well, hey, Kim, thank you so much. You guys, it's pretty cool story that you and Chuck have, and just wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast.